Welcome to the Casual Plateau. Today we've got a Warhammer game analysis, my Drukhari versus Dave's Blood Angels. Onto the lists, starting out with Dave's Blood Angel list, we have Chief Librarian Mephiston, Lamates, a Blood Angels captain with Rage-Fueled Warrior, and a Sanguinary Priest with Speed of the Primarch. For Dave's battle line, he has 10 Assault Intercessors. He also follows that up on the infantry with 5 Assault Intercessors with Jump Packs. He's got 2 of those, a big unit of Death Company Marines with Jump Packs, and 2 squads of Scouts. He's also bringing 2 Bard Predators, 2 Gladiator Lancers, and a Storm Speeder Hammer Strike. He has a Calidus Assassin allied in as well. Onto my list, I'm running Lelith Hesperax, 2 Archons, one of which has the Nightmare Shroud enhancement, and a Beastmaster for my characters. For my battle line, I have 2 units of Cabalite Warriors, a squad of Raks, and a squad of Witches. My infantry is made up of 2 units of Incubi and 2 units of Mandrakes. I'm bringing a Kronos and 2x2 Talos, alongside 2 Ravagers, and for transports, I have a Raider and 4 Venoms. Heading into our deployment, I got to deploy first in this game, so I immediately placed this Mandrake unit in the centre. I'm trying to deny some infiltrate space, though in hindsight this may have been a mistake as he just killed them turn 1, and if I'd have gone first, I could have done a move block. However, his Bald Predator was in a position to overwatch, so maybe infiltrating elsewhere in a safer position would have been better. My Beastmaster is deployed on the right hand side, ready to scout forwards if I go first to aggressively push this rightmost objective, or to scout safely into this ruin here if I go second. 1 Talos unit is deployed to head towards my natural expansion objective on the left, and the other Talos are hoping to attack the centre. We have a Venom with Cabalites inside on the left hand side next to the Kronos down at the bottom here. The Kronos can contain or do a sabotage here if I draw that card turn 1. We also have a Venom hidden amongst the Talos in the middle, hopefully out of line of sight, but within range to charge something on our natural expansion if our opponent gets aggressive. The Raider, carrying Lelith and the Witches, is chilling in the middle here. Some Mandrakes are screening at the back. In Deep Strike, we have 2 Ravagers and a Venom containing 5 Incubi in my Warlord Archon. Dave has deployed his Land Speeder super aggressively on the left-hand side of the board, next to this Scout squad that's infiltrating behind these ruins. Dave has his big Assault Intercessor brick with a Captain and Sanguinary Priest attached in the central ruin next to Mephiston, with Lamates leading 10 Jump Pack Death Company Marines behind them. There's also a 5-man JPI squad hidden in the centre, pressed right up to the wall. Dave's 2 Gladiator Lancers sit behind the ruin on his home objective, and both Bald Predators sit on the left, one in cover near the centre, and the other tucked behind this right-hand ruin. The Calidus Assassin sits in the corner just outside his deployment zone. So Dave ends up going first after we roll the dice, and Dave draws Area Denial and Bring It Down for his secondaries. His Land Speeder moves up aggressively, and his Scouts follow suit on my natural expansion objective. In the centre, Dave uses the aggressive onslaught stratagem so his Assault Intercessors can advance and charge. Mephiston and 5 JPI also come out. Moving into the shooting phase, the Land Speeder takes out my Venom on the left, scoring Dave Bring It Down for 2 points and killing 2 Cabalites as they emergency disembark. His Scouts took some pot shots at my Mandrakes at the back too, killing 2 of them, and here's where I realised I mispositioned my Mandrakes and should have put them elsewhere. Onto the charge phase, Mephiston and all of the Intercessors charge into my Mandrakes unit. They easily pick them up, everything picks up the Mandrakes, and they consolidate back onto the objectives respectively. Heading into my first turn, I draw Secure No Man's Land and Cleanse for secondaries. I move my Beast Pack up onto the centre objective, and this Venom with Cabalites inside moves up to the wall, and the Cabalites disembark on the other side to shoot the Marines in the centre. The Raks stand in front of the Talos in the middle to screen out some charges, and the 5 Cabalites that started on foot advance, coming out from the leftmost ruin, and the 3 now Venomless Cabalites join them. As a contingency, I move my Venom full of Incubi onto the left objective, and the Incubi disembark, looking to charge into the Land Speeder after using the Pounce on the Prey stratagem, in case my shooting doesn't manage to bring it down. Heading into my shooting phase, I end up wiping out the Scouts on the left, with the Cabalites taking pot shots in the centre and doing nothing. My Talos whiffed trying to shoot the Land Speeder as well, and my Venom on the left objective does a cleanse action. So, moving into the charge phase, here's where I feel like I made a big mistake, well, I don't think it would have really changed the outcome of the game considering we both scored max on primary, but it was definitely a big mistake. I chose not to charge the Beast Pack into the centre, where these Intercessors are, because I was very scared of fights first. Though, in hindsight, the speed of the Primarch enhancement gives fight firsts for just one turn, only once. So if I charge my Beast Pack into the centre here, it may have forced Dave to pop his enhancement early, making this unit a lot easier to deal with witches or incubi in the future. As you'll see over the next couple of turns, it took me way too long to deal with this squad. My incubi charge into the land speeder, bringing it down, and then consolidating onto the objective. Then the Venom ability triggers at the end of the fight phase and the unit embarks. At the end of my turn, the Calidus Assassin and the Scouts go back into reserves. On to Dave's second turn, and he draws engage on all fronts and behind enemy lines for secondaries and scores 10 points on primary. In the movement phase, Dave advances Mephiston up to my rightmost half of the board for engage on all fronts. His 2 Bald Predators come up to the objective on the right, while 5 JPI tuck into the ruin. At the end of the movement phase, the Calidus Assassin deep strikes into the corner of my deployment zone. Dave has positioned his Bald Predator well within 18 inches of the Calidus Assassin to protect it with a fire overwatch. Into the shooting phase, the Calidus Assassin establishes a locus for 4 points, and the intercessors in the centre take some pistol shots at the Beast Pack. Into the charge phase, the intercessors charge into the Beast Pack to take them out. Mephiston fails his charge into the racks. At the end of his turn 3, my remaining mandrakes go into reserves, and Dave scores both of his secondaries this turn. Heading into my turn 2, and I draw behind enemy lines and storm hostile objective for my secondaries, also scoring 10 on primary. My plans for movement here is to disembark this Cabalite squad against the wall, move up onto the objective. I hope to shoot enough of the intercessors dead so that my objective control becomes equal or less to contest it, and the Venom will also fly over the wall here to get some shots. My 2 Talos on the left will push out to head towards the midboard, and the Talos in the centre are going to pop out to try to deal with Mephiston. At the end of my movement phase, I deep strike 2 Ravagers near my home objective, within 12 inches of the Calidus Assassin, and within range to shoot the Bald Predators as well. Onto my shooting phase, one of the Ravagers and the Talos pick up a Bald Predator. The Talos also try to chip some wounds off Mephiston with the Flamers. I decide to use the second Ravager to shoot the Calidus Assassin in the face and promptly obliterate her. My Cabalites and Venoms in the centre are hoping to destroy enough models in the Intercessors unit to out-OC, but that doesn't happen thanks to the Feel No Pains and dice. Onto my charge phase, and I charge the Talos into Mephiston, expecting them both to survive his attacks, even though he has fights first. Mephiston fights and leaves with Talos on 1 wound, though the Talos end up leaving Mephiston on 3 wounds as he made a fair amount of his Feel No Pains. At the end of my turn, I score 3 for behind enemy lines, but fail to score Storm Hostile objective, so I discard it for a command point. Moving on to battle round 3, Dave draws behind enemy lines and extend battle lines for his secondary missions, and he scores another 10 on primary. Dave's movement phase, he brings out 5 jump pack intercessors, using the aggressive onslaught stratagem again so they can advance and charge to come and help Mephiston fighting these Talos. Dave moves his Bald Predator back behind the ruin, hidden out of line of sight, and that's about it really. At the end of his movement phase, I rapid ingress my Warlord Archon in their Venom in the middle here. It's fairly safe, as Dave's Gladiator Lancers have yet to sort of come out from the back. Into the shooting phase, Dave's Bald Predator on the left objective begins a burn action, and the Intercessors shoot the Cabalite squad down to 2 models. Moving into the charge phase, and the Intercessors charge into Cabalites, then they fight and kill them, consolidating into the Venom. The JPI unit on the left also charges the Talos, and I use the Heroic Intervention stratagem here to charge the Racks in. I'm hoping that he chooses to fight the Racks and leave the Talos alone, but that doesn't happen, of course. Yeah, maybe a wasted command point here. The Talos are cleared in the fight phase, though, and the Racks don't do any damage. Now Dave's big brick of Intercessors is pushing into my half of the board, and things are not looking very pretty for me. Moving into my third turn, I draw Engage on all fronts and Marked for Death. Dave selects some hidden targets for me so that I use the New Order stratagem to draw a different secondary, which ends up being Extend Battle Lines, which is very nice. I score another 10 on primary. Moving into my movement, and now I'm realising, I really need to deal with this Intercessor unit. I should have done something real about it earlier. So the Talos on the left push to the centre objective. The Incubi and the Venom on the left objective disembark, moving into the central ruin, and both of these units are planning to charge. The Raider in the centre moves a little bit to screen my deployment zone and be ready to move to the centre ruin next turn, though in hindsight I think it could have moved up as I have no deep strike of Dave's left to screen. One Ravager on the left rolls a 5 on its advance and moves 19 inches to contest the primary objective on the left, as both the Bile Predator and the Ravager have OC free, which halts Dave's bird action. The Venom locked in combat with the Intercessors here falls back around the centre, and maybe in hindsight I should have just put it straight onto the middle objective, but that's neither here nor there. The Venom that I rapid ingressed in Dave's turn moves up to the central ruin near Dave's deployment zone, and the Incubi and Archon disembark, and I use the Pounce on the Prey stratagem to allow them to charge after disembarking. Now we move into the shooting phase, and my Venom takes some pot shots at the Intercessors, and the Ravager on the right here finishes off Mephiston. On the left objective, my Cabalite squads stand there. I don't commit to a burn action, I don't shoot anything, they just stand here. I should have burnt here, I should have started the burn here, as it would have been hard for Dave to deal with the Incubi that's sort of getting into this ruin and deal with the Cabalites on the objective. So it would give Dave a choice. Instead, I move the 5-man squad of Splinter Rifles to screen out a potential charge. Moving into the charge phase, my squad of Incubi and the unit of Talos connect into the remaining Intercessors. As I've said, it's something I should have done super early. The best way to avoid a once per battle fights first is to force him to use it, but we live and learn. My Warlord Archon and the Incubi there charge into the JPI squad behind the wall, and the Archon and the Incubi easily pick them up. Dave chooses to set off both of his enhancements in the middle. The Captain goes Super Saiyan and everything gets fights first, handily destroying the Incubi, and the Talos then fight and pick up a few remaining Intercessors. The Intercessors down at the bottom here that are in combat with my Rack fights, and somehow 2 of the Racks survive, and I score extend battle lines and engage on all fronts. Dave's 4th turn starts with him earning 10 primary and drawing Secure No Man's Land and Marked for Death. I choose my squads at the back for Marked for Death, so it's difficult for him to score it, and he Oath of Moments my Ravager on the right objective. The JPI squad at the bottom here are so offended that the Rack survived that Dave uses the Relentless Assault stratagem to fall back, and they head towards the Ravager on the right objective. His Death Company Marines now come out to play, coming out of one of the ruins to attack both of my Venoms in the middle. One of the Gladiator Lancers pokes out here to take some pot shots at this Venom. Into the shooting phase, both of my Venoms get lit up and die, and the Archon plus Incubi are forced to disembark. Moving into the charge phase, the Death Company Marines and Lamartis charge and destroy the Incubi, and then consolidate onto the objective. One Talos unit dies in combat with the Intercessors in the middle, and the JPI with their reroll wounds on objectives handily finish off the Ravager, as we'll see play out in the next image. Dave scores his Secure No Man's Land here, and discards Mark for Death for a command point. Moving on to my 4th turn, and I score 10 primary again. I draw Recover Assets and Establish Locusts, and looking at the board and where my units are, I don't like both of these. So I use the New Order stratagem to get rid of Establish Locust and draw Assassinate. My movement phase begins, and I don't have much left to move around. I choose to fall back the remaining Singular Talos into the centre objective. The 2 remaining Racks here are battle shocked, so I sort of just advance them near this ruin, maybe to do something next turn, who knows. My Raider moves up to the central ruin, and the Witches disembark behind the wall. I use Pounce on the Prey, aiming to charge the last of the Intercessor brick and get my Assassinate here. Covering the left objective, my remaining 3 Cabalites now commit to burning the objective, and my Venom sort of moves into the corner of the ruin to try to make the Death Company charge a little awkward. I attempt to move the 5 Splinter Rifle Cabalites to block a charge, but as you'll see in Dave's next turn, I do not position it quite correctly. Not much happens in my shooting phase either. I commit 5 Cabalites on my home objective and the Kronos tucked into the back left ruin for a Recover Assets. My Ravager takes some pot shots at the Intercessors here. Into the charge phase, the Witches and Lilith get into the Intercessor squad, finally finishing them all off, including the characters, and I use Wraith-like Retreat stratagem to re-embark into the Raider. Maybe I could have charged my Ravager into the Intercessors and gotten off a tank shock, though it was unlikely I killed all of them, and maybe the JPI killed me on the crackback, as I'd be on an objective for their reroll wounds ability. On to Dave's final turn, he draws no prisoners and defends Stronghold. In his movement phase, Dave brings his 2 Gladiator Lancers out properly, and positions the Death Company Marines to assault the left objective. In the shooting phase, the Gladiator Lancers shoot away the Ravager off the right, and the Cabalite stood in the middle, which we'll see in the next image here. He also begins burning with the Bile Predator again. The Death Company Marines get their charge into both the Venom and the Cabalites, that were burning the objective, killing them all and denying my primary. Onto my final turn, I also draw Defend Stronghold and no prisoners, which isn't great. In hindsight, maybe I should have used New Orders and tried to score something else, but I didn't. Maraks fail their battle shock check again, so I just leave them where they are. Into my movement phase, the Raider of Witches flies over the ruin, and the Witches and Lilith disembark, preparing to attack Lamati's unit. In the shooting phase, my Talos in the middle burns the center objective. Now, I don't have an image for the rest of the video. I didn't take a picture at the end, so all that happens basically at the end is my Witches and Lilith charge into the Death Company Marines, absolutely destroying them. However, Lamati survives on 1 wound, so I don't score my max no prisoners here. But, you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. I suppose if Lamati's had died here, it would have gained me 2 more points to bring it to a draw. I'd like to thank Dave for such a great game. He played the trading game really well. He really knows Blood Angels. He's taken them to a few GTs. I'm pretty sure he's taking a similar list to Bristol GT this weekend, which will be very nice to see. I'm excited to see him do well. This game was taken during the Bedford Wargaming League. I've posted a link to their Facebook group in the description if you're willing to sort of check it out. Maybe you're in the local area. It's sort of like a bi-weekly league thing we've got going on, maybe some more events coming in the future. It's a good thing for the local Bedford community. And if you made it this far and you liked this kind of video, please give us a like and a subscribe. That'd be great. We'll see you in the next one.